Hi boys and girls, today we're going to focus on the artist Vincent van Gogh and his painting called the Irises, which I've got here in front of me. Now what we're going to focus on are four areas. We're going to focus on the very front here, which is this nice orange soil. We're going to also look at the cluster of irises that he's got, especially here at the front, and then some dashes of colour here. Then right across the middle we see that we've got a great big horizontal band of leaves. And then in the background, we've got one white iris and these beautiful clusters of wildflowers. So we've got basically four areas that we're going to look at. I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to show you just an example of what I've created. Okay, so that you can see this is what we're going to do. We're going to draw it today, and then we're going to learn about double loading. Before we begin, I will give you a handout which shows you a step-by-step guide on how to draw an iris. Now, there's a simple technique. I'm just going to pull this through so you can see. Simple technique. You actually draw a dot or a circle. Okay? And then from the circle, draw a little line coming down. Just a bit of a curve. Now this is a wavy line and it looks a little bit like a tongue. That's the bottom of the petal. On either side of that circle, you're going to draw two smaller petals that point upwards and a little bit like antlers. Next thing, you're going to draw a line up again like that, and you're mirroring this one. It's really symmetrical, so you've got it balanced on both sides, here and here. And then here, you're going to do the same. Draw two little petals that grow down like that. That is your iris, okay? Now, there's other ways of drawing irises as well. We can also go wavy, wavy. So these are like smaller ones, wavy, wavy, and then you can draw some lines that come out like that. Okay, do you see that, boys and girls? Now when you've drawn your irises, so that they're not like floating, always make sure you've added some stems in and some details. If you want to do a little iris bud, you can draw your stem up, and then it's a wavy curve, another one there, and then something that pokes out like that. So like three curvy lines, and there you've got a nice bud of an iris there. So we're going to practice that for a few moments, and then I'm going to give you watercolor paper. With your watercolor paper, again, we're going to use oil pastel. Don't put your name on the back until we've actually got our drawing working for us. But here's one that I've been working on already. I started with my irises here in this corner. Then I started to add some leaves. This is the orange here and part of the soil. So we're looking at this small area of brown dirt, and I've just done some small dashes. We're also looking at this area here with the clusters of irises and some leaves. We've got this beautiful band of green leaves coming across here, and then up here we've got more irises. So I'm just very quickly throwing in some irises there. When I've got the whole composition, I've got my wildflowers here, my whole composition drawn in oil pastel. I don't want to do it in pencil because pencil makes us draw tiny. I want us to have a nice bold painting. I haven't made it as busy as Vincent van Gogh's because of the oil pastel, but I've got the essence of it, so you can see what I've done there. Now I'm ready to do the double loading painting technique. I've started one already. You can see what I've done. I've actually taken a palette of paint, and how I do it is I take a lightest colour first. So I'm going to go white, then I'm going to go blue, and then I'm going to go red. I've actually triple loaded with this one. And when I go to my irises, I'm not blending so I mix up all the colours together, but what's happening is these colours that are on my brush are actually creating a new purple, lilac, violet, blues, indigos. Whatever I've got going on my brush is going onto my painting. So you can see, when I pull up, you can see what's happened here just with the white, the blue and the red. Look at the beautiful purples that I've already created. When I've got it mainly dry, then I'm going in with a yellow and giving it a splash of colour inside. Okay, this one I want to have dry so I don't turn the yellow into a green, so I've got that nice fresh pop. When it comes to the leaves, it's the same thing. We're double loading. I'm going to wash my brush. I want to take the moisture off my brush. You also want to make sure that your water's nice and clean. I know you're double loading, and I know what's going to happen is your paints are going to start getting dirty, but don't worry about that. This is a lesson that we're going to learn about blending on the paper. The leaves, I'm going to go with white. You don't have to. If you want to make them lighter, add white, but if you want to keep them darker, go just straight into yellow, and you can make it a new green, or you can add the green. I'm going to make a new green, so I'm going to go yellow and blue with a bit of white, and that's going to make my secondary colour. And I'm just going to pull it through. I'm going to let the brush do the blending on the paper for me. I'm going to go with a lighter one. I'm going to use this colour this time. And even if I haven't drawn them in, because the horizontal band of leaves, there's so many of them, I'm going to make each leaf a different colour. A different tint, a different shade of green, okay? And we're just going to keep filling in areas that I haven't got done. But I'm looking at the colour composition. I've given you a copy of the colour composition as well for you to follow. So you can see, you've all got one each. You can see the colours. If you look at this, the dirt, the soil at the front here, it's very orangey and brown. How we make orange, I'm not going to give you orange directly. You're going to make it yourself. So I'm going yellow, red. Always start with the lightest colour first. And then just dab it on. Remember Vincent van Gogh, he did little tiny, very sharp, busy little brush strokes. Bounced them, and lots of heavy paint too. If you want to make it a little bit browner, just go red and green. That makes brown. If you want to lighten it up, add a bit of white. And you get that beautiful blend. Don't worry about where you're going off the table, because you're going to be leaning on your paper and your tag board. The whole paint is going to be filled. Background. Where the wildflowers are, we're double loading again. Again, I've washed my brush. I'm using the same process as what I did with the leaves, where I did the brush strokes, but this time I'm actually bouncing. And I'm bouncing to get that real beautiful yellows and greens and flashes of whites for the background. When it's partially dry, that's when I'm going to come in with the oranges that give me that wildflower effect. I'm just going to come in and pick up. Now, if you're finding that your colours are getting really mixed up, just let me know. We can get some new ones. Okay, and I'm just bouncing in. I could even twist it and get those wildflower explosions. What I'm going to do is, when I've got it done to that stage, I'm going to make sure that I go round and fill in any white areas. And I can simply do that by adding explosions of little purples, as though there's smaller irises in the background. I can add in some greens, the way I did the other background, some more explosions in there, and just dab it in and fill in. When I've got the whole painting done and it is dry, here's the one that I did earlier. I'm actually going to give you a Sharpie. It has to be bone dry though, and with a Sharpie, just very carefully pull out some of the important information in your painting. Just pull out the shapes of those irises. Maybe go down one side of the leaf so you've got light and dark. You're adding some value to it. Very subtle. Doesn't have to be too busy. This side I didn't do, so you can see how it's not really showing me all the information, and this side it is. Okay, so very first thing, we're going to practice how to draw our irises. I'm going to give you the handout. I'm going to show you how you can do lots of different designs. They're very simple. Once you've got that, then you're going to draw in oil pastel, because we want that nice bold design, your composition. Remember, we're doing this area, the foreground, the cluster of irises, the main ones here, and then some smaller ones up here, the horizontal band of leaves, and then the wildflowers, and we've got a white iris there as well. When you've got that all working, please make sure that you've got ownership of it, that your name is on the back. Now's your turn, boys and girls. Let's go and make some art.